What happens when animals develop an appetite for self-destruction? From eating themselves, to exploding altruistically, to following their leader to their death, there are many ways animals' instincts go against them. Sometimes the result is a guaranteed death. These are the greatest examples of animal self-destruction. Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animal Logic's Second Nature. Nature is almost all living beings trying their absolute best to survive in a dangerous world. Our instinct for self-preservation is shared with all animals. But sometimes a switch flips, and some animals take a path of self-destruction. So what causes these behaviors? The best-known example of this kind of behavior is when snakes eat themselves. It's such a well-observed behavior that it was a part of Egyptian and Greek iconography as a figure called Ouroboros. It represented the cycle of destruction and rebirth. So, the circle of life. But when real snakes do that, they're not actually thinking about Simba or reincarnation. In most cases, they're just disoriented and hurting themselves in their confusion. In most cases, this happens in pet snakes. These snakes can often be stressed due to noises, light, overhandling, health issues, and temperature. All of these factors combine to make the snake a little woozy, almost as if they were punch drunk. Snakes don't have amazing eyes to begin with, and paired with their confusion goggles, they end up attacking their own tail, likely mistaking it for prey. If you have a pet snake and you see this behavior, try to find out if there's anything that's stressing it out, and handle it so it regurgitates itself. With that out of the way, let's focus on some of the behaviors where an animal's instincts are weaponized against themselves. First of all, death spirals. Most social animals have sophisticated methods of communication, including calls, visual cues, and pheromones. In many cases, the signal they're giving is danger, run, or hey, food. But sometimes, the signal is a simple follow me. Army ants use a pheromone trail to follow each other. But sometimes, a group of ants gets separated from the main trail and starts following each other. As they walk, the circular pheromone trail gets reinforced, and the insects get stuck in the loop. This is often called an ant mill, but it escalates into a death spiral when the ants are unable to break away from the circle and walk themselves to death from exhaustion. This makes sense in ants because of their limited cognitive abilities. They see a chemical message saying walk, and they just keep on walking. But the issue gets a little more complicated when we get into mammals, especially with the most infamous vertebrate follower, the sheep. There are legitimate reasons for herding animals to walk in circles. Many ungulates, such as reindeer, walk in circles when approached by a predator. They'll keep the young and most vulnerable on the inside, while those on the outside try to overwhelm the source of danger. This can be a terrifying experience for wolves, and also for humans. You do not want to be around Santa's favorite means of transportation when they turn into a reindeer cyclone. But sheep are, different. Domestic sheep were bred from mouflons to be easy to herd. This has made them docile and very willing to just go along with whatever is going on around them. There have been reports of farm sheep walking in circles for days. There is something ominous about the seemingly ritualistic aspect of this behavior, especially because of sheep and goats' association with the occult. But in this case, it seems to be a matter of herd mentality gone awry. In most cases, farm sheep are understimulated and often stressed due to overcrowding. It only takes a couple of sheep to start walking around in circles before the others think to themselves, I must follow those walking sheep or I'll die. Soon after, the sheep circle appears, and if it isn't stopped, the sheep will eventually collapse. This is a particularly sad case, because the sheep are just doing what they have been bred for thousands of years to do. Humans instilled that instinct in them. Can't be too mad at them when they're just doing what we taught them to do. But there are some wild animals whose migration and herding behaviors leave much to be desired. Lemmings are rodents from the Arctic and subarctic. When their populations get too big, they migrate to find other viable habitats. When they cross bodies of water, many end up drowning. And large groups of dead lemmings are left behind. This has been misinterpreted as mass unaliving, a myth that got perpetuated by a nature documentary where the producers chucked lemmings off a cliff to show their alleged mass self-destruction. Weird to think that not all nature documentary filmmakers love animals. Some whales and dolphins occasionally beach themselves in large groups. We're still not sure why that happens, but some of the most likely explanations are panic due to orcas, or navigational issues caused by human machines, such as sonars, or by fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field. Whale groups have a leader, and if the leader goes in the wrong direction, it might cause the death of the rest of the pod. Okay, so these have mostly been examples of accidental self-destruction, a natural instinct triggered at the wrong place at the wrong time. But what about the animals that do it on purpose? The best examples of this are insects who sacrifice themselves for their colony. Exploding ants have the ability to rip themselves open to release a sticky substance to trap small predators, such as weaver ants or spiders. Though sometimes they attack non-predators such as grasshoppers or even other exploding ants. It's kinda like what Spider-Man does to petty criminals. The only difference being that in this case, the bad guys end up starving to death or being stung into oblivion, and everyone dies. Unfortunately, the gunk is particularly effective against other arthropods, so it does nothing against birds or mammals. Similarly, exploding termites have inbuilt little backpacks full of goo that they can release in case of an emergency. Studies have shown that it's mostly older termites who do this, as one final act of sacrifice for the colony. Aww. I don't know why, that's kind of heartwarming to hear about kamikaze grannies going out in a blaze of glory. It's cute. Lastly, there's a very common example you've likely seen a million times, but it's kind of fascinating when you think about it. Bees have a harpoon attached to a bag of venom in their bellies. When they sting something with it, the harpoon gets lodged, the sac gets ripped out of the bee to continue injecting venom, and the bee dies from the injuries caused by this traumatic event. If bees were less common, we'd call this one of the most amazing behaviors in nature. And it's all done on purpose with the end goal of protecting the colony. Badass. So what should we talk about next? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every week. Thanks for watching. See ya!